Greetings, I am Lies and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together.
Alright!
Back into Asra, leaving the village. Eventually, our path takes us to the edge of the woods.
Into the woods.
The sun is high overhead, dappling down through the leaves onto the path ahead. Everything is ahead of us. And I am very excited about what lays out there.
Honestly, you might say that there's a lot of head here.
The sun is overhead, the path is up ahead, the dappling is on our heads.
Yes.
Such head.
Lots of head. This is the right light to find our way. Perfect timing.
Are you suggesting that if the light were different, we would have a difficult time finding our way?
You mean like when there's no light?
Like perhaps when it is sunrise or sunset as opposed to midday, even though there are other times of day, that the path is not obvious? It's a path we take often enough. Not too far in, we can find a few plants we use at the shop. That seems unlikely to me, on the path itself. But that's okay. Maybe they're very, very common plants to use at the shop.
I mean, it honestly depends. Like, we don't really seem to know the state of this forest at all. Like, it really just seems to be very much immediately. And now you are in Lothlorien.
It could also be the path isn't a path. It's our personal little deer track.
Yeah.
As we move into the speckling shade. Speckled? It's okay. It's fine. I haven't heard it said that way. I watch Asra's profile.
It is speckling you. The shade is speckling your skin.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Remember how, like, there was at one point, like,
so
you
like
and I
dappled. We're talking dappled
yes,
shade.
exactly.
Got
Dappled,
it.
so speckling. Though I think you're probably right. It should be speckled, not speckling, but I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not sure either. I just haven't heard it. I watch Asra's profile. He's really good looking. I mean, he's quiet. But still brimming with excitement.
And hot.
And
I mean, excitement.
Very, very attractive.
Hot excitement.
His hair is fluffy and looks beautiful in the dappled light, okay? When we take an unfamiliar turn, I'm certain, we aren't harvesting at any of the usual spots. Well, he didn't invite you out harvesting, did he, dear? He invited you on an adventure.
Well, actually, it seems like we've changed our mind as to what we're doing. It was I need to teach them something. Now we're on an adventure. And I'm going like...
And now we're having... Okay, so
what are we doing?
I feel like your MC, in this case Kohai, does not know what you're doing at all. As was like, may I borrow him? 4, 1, no 2, no 3, no 4. Scratching each one off. Plan X, Plan Q, Plan R. Why are we changing the plans? Each one of them would work. No, I have an idea.
No, I have an idea. I'm beautiful.
Okay, sure. So I thought about a thing. It's segue time. For anyone who hasn't ever been to our channel, this might be a thing. All right. So I was thinking about the premium scene that we did where we were in the not place, the astral realm, or in between with Asra. And it was I was contrasting it in my head to the other 2 routes that we've done. And I'm really glad that we didn't play Asra's route first, because I think that scene would have been very, very difficult to navigate with an MC that wasn't already into Asra, with one that was interested in building a relationship. Much like Nerd wasn't even interested in building a relationship. Nerd was just existing and happened to be in a romance game.
Yeah, that was...
And then...
an experience.
With NADIA'S route, Corazon was very much interested in experience and connection with this powerful figure of a person, but not so much like, yes, the relationship.
Yes.
But it was like a very get to know you, build something as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
And if you started out with the option of, if you went, oh, premium scene, I'm going to totally take this, I want to get to know Asra more, and it was tease him or kiss him, and your MC wasn't into him yet, it would be very strange if you were just getting to know him.
Well, and it's also one of those things too. So it's a hard thing for my brain to sort of wrap itself around. Usually, okay, so I get the thing of going, you have an instant, basically, moment of attraction, of interest. You have been piqued by this character, and you're like, the design looks interesting, let's give it a try.
Right.
And then, usually what I like to do is I go, okay, so we could do some of this, but now I want to get to know you.
Yep.
And that would have been very kind of strange, I think, for me, just kind of playing on my own. Like, I don't know how to describe. I really like when romance honestly builds on relationship, on values, on connection,
friendship.
Yeah.
Companionship, camaraderie.
Part of, like, most of all of the stories that I have ever either written or whenever I've role-played with someone, or when I've done canon role-plays, as they've been called, because I'm a dirty live journal person.
Woohoo!
A lot of the thing was like, yeah, okay, you can have your initial woo, everything's really attractive, but then you just kind of want to go, but why should they then continue to stay together? And that was the part usually I found to be very interesting, of going, where are the things that we connect? How do you make me more of who I am? Or how do you add to my life?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So whenever I'm as a mature adult person, I say in giant quotes, he. When I am thinking about having a relationship, which I have a few times in my life, there is this solid experience of, if I feel like I have agency, it's not being pushed on me, it's something I want and I'm seeking after, then there is this very solid personal experience of going, what would this relationship add to my life? How does it fit in my life? And it's not just, ooh, crazy, massive crush, woo, I have the hots for this person, and it is really okay, I have an attraction and I have an interest. Now, would they fit into my life, and would I fit into theirs, and would what they come with that I can perceive be something that I want to be a part of, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And so very much if they have an overbearing family, do I want to be involved in that? If they don't have any friends at all and are isolated, is that something I want to take? Is that something they like, or is not working well for them? Mm-hmm. You know, if whatever things, even if they have really different approaches to budgeting and money than I do, is that something that I'm going to be okay with if I were doing long term? Because I've never really wanted to date casually. I've never had an interest in it. And there's nothing wrong with it. Just me personally only. Mm-hmm. And because it takes a lot of energy for me to social. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what I was going around to with this is going, I think in that way that we've had some feedback about, that basically the routes are designed for you to already be super into them, and that is the ideal way, because this feels way more natural. And at first, when Corazon was on board with the experience before going, hang on, what are we doing? It felt way more like it fit the story.
Yes.
And so there is an assumption in this game that you're not going to meet and get to know people, just that you're instantly going to be sort of involved with, connected to them, and actively pursuing the relationship without discussing it.
Well, and I think this still kind of applies. Part of the reason why, even though some of this feels more natural, and I'm not kidding, is because they still wrote more of a character here. They had a much more solid, basically, idea for the character that they were writing for the first-person perspective that you're experiencing the story through. And the fact that they try to continue that then with Nadia and Julian, there's some weird level of they just assume, going, whatever's going to happen, you're just going to be up for it. And it's like, but that's not necessarily true, especially with the fact, as we pointed out in the other routes, of how much there's a lot of lack of verisimilitude, as it were. There's a lack of consistency in regards to what the fuck is actually going on.
A lack of clear priorities and exchanges.
And in this one, like, that was the thing of the way I was talking about, like, with Kohai, going like, oh, no, but you're really pretty, because the thing is, there's no external force of going, like, for example, in Nadia's route and Julian's route, about a time limit. Nope. We don't have any of that here, so a lot of that pressure is just completely gone. So us fucking around is less antagonizing, I think, to me in this one.
It makes way more sense. So one of the big problems that we had with both of the other routes was there was a clear time limit imposed early on of, like, a sense of urgency, and we are going to run out of time to do what we need to do because of the nature of, like, the ball is happening soon, or this other thing is artificially going to happen soon, right? Mm-hmm. And so every time it was, let's run off for a romance scene, it was like, how the fuck do we have time for this? Where are your priorities? And in here it works just fine.
Yeah.
I am certain we aren't harvesting at any of the usual spots.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, any of the usual spots, you should probably leave those areas to grow back if you consistently go there.
Maybe the usual spots include a range area where you are thoughtful about it. Let's assume they're knowledgeable foragers.
I hope so, too.
I hope so. This isn't a normal walk in the woods. We're looking for something more.
Or at least I assume, because honestly, I have no idea what we're doing.
Chapter 2.
Enter the cave!
Well,
you see sometimes, Sakuya.
Will you come into the cave with me? It's been a while since we've gone into the forest. It feels different this time.
Okay, we've established that.
I was going to say, I think you are assuming that we took a break between chapters. Sort of like when people assume that you're not binging a series and you have, in fact, had to wait for the weekly re-release. And when you watch it 2 seconds later, the recap feels real funny.
So I'm old enough, relatively speaking, to have actually watched Avatar, The Last Airbender, when it came out. And it is unfortunately one of those series that assumes you had to wait basically a week before, basically, between episodes, unless they were specifically following on the back of each other, right? There was like a plot thing that they were trying to follow through. So it was really interesting when, as an adult, I ended up buying the whole series.
And just watching it.
And I watched it, and I went, oh yeah, this is, the pacing is a little different, because it really is one of those things for a lot of the episodes, they really do assume that basically it's been about a week, as it has been about a week between episodes when they used to air, since you basically saw them last. So they're further along than where they were before because they've been a week of traveling while you're doing something else.
And also, they have a recap.
Yep.
I've always thought it was really funny when you're binging a series and they do the recap and you're like, I saw that 2 seconds ago, versus when you're like, oh yeah, the last, installment came out 2 weeks ago or whatever. And yeah, that's what we're doing. But it's funny that way.
Yes.
I do miss the calm tones of his voice. So close to me. As he answered my endless questions. We're saying this is what happened before when we went on these walks, I think. Not that I long for the old days, when he led me along as I hung off his arm. When all I could make were wordless sounds. No, I don't miss that, but you have clear memories of it. Most people don't have clear memories of their pre-verbal life. So, spoilers, mild spoilers, or big spoilers? Okay, so if the idea is that your apprentice started from basically infancy, as far as their mind is concerned, and Asra brought them back up to normal adult level, if you will. And they had, no speech, and they had no skills, no anything, right? Because they didn't remember anything. Then the idea that they can remember their pre-verbal life is like someone remembering when they were an infant before they could talk. And they have talked about this a lot in psychology, where you start labeling things in your head once you get language. And so I guess it's your pre-linguistic life, but I've always heard it referred to as pre-verbal. Because, of course, you're still making sounds, but it's not language.
Right.
Anyway, and so once you start labeling and categorizing things in your head, most people lose track of the things that were unlabeled or labeled with a completely different system, the one they had on their own that didn't involve any language at all.
Yeah.
And so being able to remember that is fascinating. Like, your memory is extra.
Like,
no.
Wow. I'm also like, holy shit, it really is just explicit. The thing that we were like,
you started as basically a baby.
Yeah, you would just be baby. You are child, Asra's dad.
Well, and Asra had to...
Or basically parent, guardian, caretaker, that kind of thing. Yeah,
from people that lose everything, from the exposure that I've had to basically, I'll say various forms of amnesiac. You really do have to teach, like rehabilitate them all the way up. Usually they live in an extended care facility, and they treat them like a full-size, adult baby. And you have to teach them everything from walking, potty training, eating, food, all of it. And yeah, they become a lot of them, if their brain is in a state where it can heal or recover, or just lost but it's still intact,
right?
Then they can become a perfectly normal functioning adult, but you are raising them again.
Yes.
Oftentimes the core personality, not any of the social values, but the core personality of were they more feisty, were they more curious, were they more a go-getter, is intact. Because they're still the same person under there, but not always.
Yeah, not always.
All right. No, I don't miss that. That's really interesting, though. I actually remember being pre-language and what it was like.
That is
I
wild.
like this better. Walking beside him, not following, and he isn't leading. We're going together. Kohai is for equal partnerships.
Yeah.
2022.
Yes. What are you thinking about?
Faust, I see you thinking. Hello. I'm here. Poof. Thoughts. Faust, thoughts?
You look worried. Try to relax.
Faust, should I look worried?
Breathe deep. We're going to a place you've been before.
I mean, this has all been places I've been before because these are familiar woods.
I love the fact that finally Asra realizes, he's like, oh yeah, I haven't said where we're going yet.
Or what we're doing.
Or what we're doing.
Also keep, as I talk to other people, I keep changing what we're doing. and not talking to you about it.
Even though that's not the same as actually going, I recognize that I have not told you what's going on. Mm-hmm. Because, okay, so there is an explicit difference between actually fucking apologizing, for example, and just going like, I'll just change things. Okay, so I have a major fucking beef.
A beef!
So,
with Finding Dory.
I recognize that Dory has horrible memory issues, okay? The thing is, and this is a thing I have noticed aggressively in a lot of movies, once that actually hit me in Finding Dory many years ago, and I watched the movie in the theater actually with my friend, I went, holy shit. The octopus that is a dick to her the entire time and is abusive and rude to her and whatever else, he never actually explicitly apologizes. He just goes, I'm just basically going to do better. And he never I'm like, it doesn't matter if you believe that Dory will never remember. You should still fucking apologize.
Yes, correct.
Because I'm like, the fact that basically he gets away with, I got to be mean to you and you don't remember it means of course I don't have to apologize. I'm like, rude. You should have fucking apologized.
It also gives him a pass to be mean at any time in the future if he ever, relapses his moral choice or habits.
And the thing is people are inclined to do that. If that's a habit you're used to having, even if people are sincere about wanting to change and do other things, it is a part of basically, as it were, recovery or changing yourself. It takes
a lot of practice.
Because that thing is a habit, usually.
So anyone who says, well, I'm never going to do it again from this moment, if it's something that is habit for them, that has been a key part of their life, it's going to be hard for them to do that. Now, if it's something that has really distinctive boundaries, like, I'm going to stop smoking right now, that's very easy to go, I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. But if it's verbal abuse, it can be very hard to draw the line between, are you being abusive right now or not? I can pick that up with a word rather than having to grab a box of something and do an action. And so it's much harder to change.
Right. And there's a lot of things, so I'm not saying that nonverbal communication isn't important and that sometimes people can go, I just changed and we have an understanding. But I think in this case where, to me, even with the character going, we are on an equivalent ground, that's what I want between Asra and myself, Asra still has far more power here because you're still following Asra to whatever Asra wants to do. So not acknowledging that dynamic and going, oh, crap, I've been leading you around and not telling you anything is sort of weird. Yeah.
I draw in a calming breath, feeling his gaze on my profile. Which is what I
will not look.
I was gazing at his profile a moment ago. So fair is fair. His arms link fluidly behind his back as he leans towards me, catching my gaze, drawing it upwards. He does that thing where he just clasps his arm behind it, leans and bends in half. Hello.
Also, I'm like, how short are we?
Side-eyeing. Let's assume that he's a little...
leans towards you. I didn't think you guys were that far away from each other.
I was going to say, let's assume that we're not short yet, okay? And that it's more of an experience.
I have to really duck.
Kawhi taking a calming breath is sort of them stopping and just being
and
like,
Asra kept
I'll
walking,
look down.
And Asra stopped.
Yep, and I'll look down and I'll breathe. And then I notice he stopped and turned around and is staring at me. And so he leans forward because I'm farther away.
Yeah, okay.
But they're going to tell us we're short any minute now. They're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
All right. Drawing it upward. I've seen this thing in anime so many times that they just lean in. And then you're like, I've looked at you. And then you're just like, and now I will pull you up. Yeah.
Look over there. What do you see?
First, I will look first.
Fucking boop!
The baby. She's beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
I love her so much.
But I also love, just because I like snakes. So I don't know specifically so this is an awareness thing. I don't know if it's specifically me liking Faust, or it's just me because I like snakes.
Any snake is good. All fictional snakes are good.
They're good.
It's good. I follow his luminous stare overhead to the left, where the sun streams to the canopy. He's really pretty. I'm looking, I promise.
I promise I'm staring.
There are 3 birds in the tree. Vibrant ravens. Vibrantly black? Question mark?
Oh, no, I mean, the thing is so ravens have ravens and crows both have kind of like shimmery feathers, depending on how clean they are.
Oh, they do. I would say they have the oil slick black.
Yeah, which is really pretty.
Vibrant ravens. One bright eye, each pouring into mine. They form the points of an triangle, which is notable actually and interesting.
They're all in the same thing, and I can tell that they make a triangle.
based on exactly the way they're sitting, I'm like, that is a triangle, and they're all side-eyeing me in the same direction. Huh. That is a little interesting.
Yeah, the last time I brought you here, you were new to magic.
I guess it has been a while. We use the regular track so often, and we never deviate that, well, I guess this is it. I hear a shift of fabric just as Faust moves onto my arm, settling in smooth coils across my shoulders. Faust, I leave you. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm. No, I want warmer cuddles.
I have decided that I am going over here. They have their hair down, and I'm going to scoot under that.
Goodbye.
And it is dark and full of sunshine and warmth and toasty. Toasty. Yes, in case anyone hasn't noticed, Kohai does have long hair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She does this when Asra talks about the past. I wonder who sensed my need for comfort first, him or her? Because he gets so uneasy talking about the past, I get uneasy. And Faust is like, I am a comfort noodle. This is my comfort noodle.
Which is fine. I'm also like, are we uncomfortable? I would have liked to have known.
We're being told now.
Okay.
I guess. I
mean, that is a way to do it, of going, oh god, I didn't realize I was starting to feel uncomfortable, and Faust figured it out first.
And then going, now that you have done the key action of, oh, this is the comfort behavior, I go, oh man, I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And which one of you? As if sensing my thoughts, Asra leans into me to take my hand in his, thumb brushing over mine.
We're going to a cave.
Are we not going to discuss the birds at all? No?
No!
Okay.
We really are just aggressively it's just an interesting thing. Okay! Right. It's a hotspot for magic. Not just because of the natural energy. People have been going there for as long as time. Which was invented by people, so you know.
So the first person who invented time then stumbled upon the cave. As long as time.
They
invented time in the cave.
Cave as old as time.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, I could do
magic that's for you.
to open their eyes, to experience another side of reality. They usually did it with, like, drugs. Drugs! Because that's what people did. Like, or people go, okay, so you have several different cultural practices. As far as I understand, there's ones where you go into extreme states of basically, like, starvation or dehydration.
You try and you put your body in an altered state due to either distress or chemical differences.
You dance for hours. That's another one. Again. Meditative dance. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of going through the ones that I know about. There's chemical alteration of various different kinds.
There is
whether
states
it's
of
smoke or
intense change.
Something that you drink, basically. Mm-hmm. There's some things that you eat.
Mm.
I'm like, there's so many things. They went this place. It's a magical hotspot. Where they did drugs. It's okay, Asra. Drugs!
Drugs.
Sorry, who invited you?
Drugs.
Drugs!
Drugs. No, I don't know, thank you. I just,
Drugs!
Drugs! Oh, and if you don't know...
No, I suddenly want
that vibe.
Poppy and drugs.
Drugs.
Drugs. Drugs.
It's okay. It would have been great in NADIA'S route if there was ever a point for that, because NADIA'S actually got an owl. And if you know that vine, which is what we're referencing, it's an owl.
Yes, it is.
Drugs.
Drugs. To open their eyes, to experience another side of drugs.
Of reality.
Reality, I mean. You'll see what I mean when we get there. It's a beautiful place. I've been wanting to take you there for a while, but I told myself it was too dangerous.
So, what I'm hearing is, from myself and from you, is that we've been here before, but it's been a long time, and either something happened that made you concerned, or something has changed since then, that made you worried to bring me back. But today is the day?
Drugs.
What's the name?
Sorry, I'm not going to drop that.
And auspicious day for drugs.
Drugs? Oh, God. Was this the day we did
Just
drugs?
So everyone knows, this is a mature channel.
Just so you know. And again, the thing is like, it is a apparently political issue. But
of going, can you use drugs to help yourself? In the same way that pot has been legalized in several states. Mm-hmm. It's going, is this something we're going to say, no, it's not allowable because of moral things in the prison pipeline? Or are we going to say, yeah, you can use this because 1, it's profitable, and 2, it does help people?
It does, yeah.
Actually.
Or mushrooms. That was the other one.
The mushrooms is the one that's much more under contention.
Yes.
All right. Faust slides off of my shoulder.
Faust, I am here! Oh shit, now you're the anxiety bomb.
And now you are more nervous. Excuse me, I must support.
Hi.
No.
My job
Faust
as a blanket never ends.
slides. I am the weighted blanket. Slides over to Asra. You're still nervous. Asra's still nervous. Just bridges between the two of you, gently wrapped around each of your shoulders.
Trying to hold.
You. I was just say this.
Have you ever actually been there though, like with a snake that's a little bit stretched out to its limit, but it's holding on to two things and doesn't want to pick one or the other? It's just like, oh, I'm just here. Or it's like, I gotta decide, and I don't. Like, it's such a great sensation, because snakes are just made of muscle.
They are.
They really are, and particularly, like, with the ones who are, the predators that stay in space. I still haven't fucking remembered what it's called. It's not persistence hunters, it's just the sit and wait hunters.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, a lot of particular...
Ambush hunters, I think, maybe?
Maybe?
Ambush predators?
Maybe ambush predator? Fuck, I forgot.
Somewhere in there. Anyway.
Anyway, so the thing is particularly those guys, they are just, like, coiled masses.
They are a gentle, soft spring that's about to just eat your whole head off.
Yeah, pretty much. Which is why I should also be very respectful of them.
Okay, but yeah, I'm picturing very solidly that you've got, Kohai standing there listening, and then Faust just starts to uncoil and reach over, and just gently becomes like a literal, like scarf between the two of them, wrapping them together. And then they're both like, oh.
Okay, well, I guess we have to...
Turning to Asra as his hand leaves mine.
I'm not holding you back anymore, okay? You're going to do fine.
So,
what are we doing?
Right. One thing that I have learned, that I learned, and it was really fun, in my college studies when I was in psych, didn't finish in case anyone knows, wants to know, was that there is this, so I did human growth and development, and which includes a lot of things about like raising children, because it's, how you start as a baby and become an adult. It's the human growth. Anyway, so there is this thing that there was this quote that stuck with me, because I always, and it very much related to my own childhood with other adults, not with, like my mom. I say because I mostly lived with my mom. Anyway, where they say that a child usually thinks they are ready to do something about 2 or 3 years before they are, and their parent usually thinks they're ready to do it about 2 or 3 years after they are.
Yes, I remember. I actually remember you showing that one.
And the thing is it's different culturally. So that's a very American lens,
right?
Because American parents tend to be much more protective than many other cultures, which give their kids more freedom. I say more freedom, not in like we should do that, just in a descriptive way of there's less control on what they're doing with their time.
Which is interesting, because in that sense as well, it also means freedom in the sense is basically lack of rules, which isn't necessarily the same. Well, I was going to say,
not necessarily lack of rules, but lack of supervision.
Yes.
So the thing is there can be a lot of rules, such as in like Japanese culture, where there is generally a lot of like family obligation and expectations.
But I'm talking about for the U.S., like the thing of going like you have all the freedom to do whatever you want, and it's like, yeah, but like... It feels a little bit like there is definitely a distinctive difference where you're kind of like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that like you have a lot of like information about how to interact with your reality, because they're just like, just do whatever you want, just fucking stay out of my way, kind of thing. And you're like, what does that mean?
My experience with all types of childcare that I've ever been exposed to, either doing it myself or with others, has been that the expectation is not for me, because I if I'm doing a job, I'm doing that job. I was just say, but the expectation is that the kids just do whatever until something goes wrong, and then you intervene.
Yep.
And so there's no
preemptive, there's no explanations.
There's not a lot of interacting with the kids.
There's no communication.
Unless it's directing them to a task, like we're going to get on the bus, we're going to get off the bus, we're all going to go and have snack time now. It's not we're doing something together as a group, or I'm interacting with several of you, and then when something starts to, become challenging or awry, or could be a teachable moment, that's also developmental language, then you just take advantage of it then. It's someone's screaming over there, I didn't see what happened, let's go tell people not to scream and be nice.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway.
Okay, you're going to do fine.
So Asra has finally reached that point of going, it might be 2 years too late, but you're ready now. Oh. His eyes hide none of his admiration. Basking in it gives me a rush of confidence. I don't know what we're doing, but the fact that he believes in me
Okay.
makes me believe in myself.
Where are we going?
But I sense something underneath. He still seems trepidatious, hesitant, nervous. Something he won't tell me.
On top of all the other things you won't tell me.
He hides almost everything at all times,
Your
but I feel
Asra is like onions.
I feel like right now he is hiding something. Asra is never not hiding something, but right now I feel like he's hiding something new, something immediate.
Something I perceive.
Something he won't tell me. Oh, that's pretty.
Ooh.
When we reach the cave, the temperature drops. It's soothing. I hadn't realized how hot I was. Faust also, yeah, I might be going to him to be his comfort noodle, but also while the toast of your dark hair in the sunshine around your neck was very comfy, it got warm real fast.
Also, at the same time, too, you know what? The temperature going to go down, and who has more clothes?
Yeah, he got a scarf for me.
He got a scarf is for me.
Yeah, you do not have a scarf.
You do not understand. This is for me.
The reason. So I'll ask about everyone's fashion in the Arcana. Why'd you make this choice? Why'd you make that choice? Asra, that scarf is clearly Faust. It's fine. That is your Faust storage.
This is Faust storage. I don't need to ask about that.
Yeah, no, that's like one of those cat dog backpacks or a cat bag or something. This is his snake scarf. It is literally sewn so Faust can noodle into it because it is their resting place, her bed, her comfy spot.
This is where she exists.
It's like the little felt cat houses.
Oh, that would be great. But you know what? We have to have more felt cat houses in the next one. So more beds for Faust.
You've got Kohai. I didn't realize how hot I was. I am a spicy treat.
Faust. Stop it. You will boop at me. Boop at me, I'm cute.
So, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, absolutely. If you guys like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Please interact with the video. It actually does a lot for us in regards to YouTube algorithm if you can. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi, our Patreon, and our Twitch. There are some links in the description down below, and we'd love to see you there. And, I've been Scamp.
And I'm really thrilled by the popularity of this series so far. It's very fun.
That's very charming.
When you work in very tiny numbers of views, getting up in the 20s on every episode is very, very exciting.
It's very wild. You go, wow.
Also, as always, we appreciate your comments. And we always answer them together, so sometimes it takes us a little while to get to them because we have to coordinate our schedules. But we always read them and we enjoy them. And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!